thank you for inviting me, and I'm glad you guys braved the rain to come out tonight and listen to a presentation that's really aimed to help you find an internship. My name's Cheryl, and I'm from Internship Services. I've been in the internship office 14 years now in higher ed, 30 years on 4 different campuses, pretty much doing the same job. My role is to help you find an internship if you can't find one across campus, no matter what your major is, and to help you apply for one, no matter what your major is or what it takes, help you move your way into it and find your way out of it. For some of you, that will mean maybe you'll come back and say, I loved it, I want more, or no, not so much. That's not me after all. Our office is in Lomason 154. If you ever want to come over and use our services, we're over there. Your field, journalism, is a very competitive field, and without that experience, you're probably not going to get the top job that you want, the top line job you want. Most of the students coming out of school right now are competing heavily for positions. And so the students that we're finding that are gainfully employed out of college, that are getting their dream jobs, have had some experience while they're here. The School of Journalism knows that and is requiring you to do an internship. We're starting to see that pattern move toward all the schools on campus and all the departments. We're just now helping wildlife biology and management information systems. So it's the way of the world is to get that experience. The reason you would want the experience is, there's a plethora of reasons actually. The first one is yes, get experience. Yes, bring your skills up to par, see what skills you don't have, experience a field within journalism, see if you really like it, network within the industry, make connections, build your references. Hey, maybe you want to go to San Diego for the summer. Maybe that's where the internship is. For some of you, you might come back and think, wow, you know what? I'm not going to speed through school so fast. I'm going to pick up a minor. I'm going to pick up a major. I'm going to focus in a different area. Basically, you're trying on a job, a professional job. See if you like it. Students all over are doing that. In 2010, there was a very large study done by all the career services administrators across the nation, and they surveyed employers that had come to their schools, and they found that 75% of the employers that had interviewed on campuses were looking for students with experience. So that means 25% were like, I don't care. So the majority of the employers do want to see the experience you have. For all of you, you're studying in a state-of-the-art building, and you're studying with a distinguished faculty. And so the bar for you is a little higher, and we're going to raise it for you, but then help you jump that too. Thanks. So there's different ways to find your internship. And the first thing I want you to do is to start thinking about, what is it I want? What do I want to gain from this internship? What's my goal with it? Yeah, I know you have to do it, so your goal is academic credit, right? But really, what is the goal underpinning that? Is it that you need experience? Do you want connections? Are you hoping to land a job with that company? Do you need to make money? Do you want to get out of town? Do you need to supplement your curriculum? Sometimes we don't quite offer exactly what you want to do with your career, so sometimes you'll get that career start in an internship. Do you want to, maybe some of you already have a major in something else, and this is your second major, your do-over major, you're changing careers. Maybe you're trying to just completely change direction. And then furthermore after that, like, what kind of organization do you want? Do you want a big Fortune 500 company? Do you want a news agency, radio, television, media? What are you looking for? Photojournalism at Disney, ABC, ESPN, CBS, CNN, or a small nonprofit. Where are you going? What do you want? What's going to make you happy? So there's some questions that you'll want to sit and ask yourself about. And then what geographical location do you want? Do you have to stay in Missoula? For some students, maybe they're married, maybe they have children. They have to stay in Missoula. They don't have a choice. Do you have to stay in Missoula? Do you have to stay in Montana? Can you go anywhere? Do you need to go, can you go international? We offer help finding international internships also, but that needs to be thoughtful and probably thought about in your junior year. It's not a quick little thing to do that. And then the question I always ask is, where can you live for free? Whose couch can you surf on for a summer or semester? Unless you're independently wealthy, sometimes internships are expensive. So do you have a grandmother, a brother, a sister in a specific city that you might be able to live in? Because that might widen our opportunity for looking and where we're looking. Do you know someone in New York City you could live with? Maybe then we could do ABC. So keep thinking, where could we be? Where could we go? And then the next thing that I'd like you to do is start preparing. I need you to check your transcript and proof it. Not all transcripts are accurate, you guys. If you've taken a class as an incomplete, has the grade been posted for the incomplete? Did you take over a class, do a do-over, and you no longer have that C-? Maybe you have an A. Has that A been posted and the C- taken off? That your transcript is your responsibility and nobody else's. I did have a student who didn't get into PT school, and it came down his GPA, which was very high, and what we realized was 2 C's hadn't been taken off that he had redone, and he had gotten A's in it. It was too late at that point, so then we had to scoot back and try to find the professors and try to prove everything again. So proof your transcript. The next thing we need you to do is start thinking about your resume and your cover letter and preparing those. Resumes are very different now than they were 10 years ago because of applicant tracking systems, which started in about 2006. Computer systems for many companies, including Fortune 500 companies, they read and scan your resume and shoot only the top 4 or 5 to HR. So if you're applying online ever and you're like, ooh, this looks like an online system, it probably is, and just know the computer's reading your resume and giving just the top few to the HR office. So we'll want to make sure that the resume and cover letter are completely tailored to that position, to that internship, to that company, and to the job posting, not randomly written. And then we'll want you to confirm your references. Who are going to be your references? You don't just put references out there. Often on an internship, they will ask for 3 references. Who are they going to be? You don't just put a professor's name and phone number down without asking permission. And it's best not to say, hey, will you be my reference? It's better to say something like, would you feel comfortable testifying to my skill set if I used you as a reference for this? That gives the professor kind of an out and saying, no, I'm not really comfortable, rather than saying, no, I'm not going to be your reference. And then the things we want with the references are name, title, the company, city, state, zip, phone number, and email. Phone number no longer tells the recruiter where the reference lives. So we want to tell them what time zone they're in. And then we want to start thinking, and you're probably already doing this, about gathering your photos, videos, writing samples, gathering them in one place on a DVD. We're finding more and more internship recruiters are saying, I'd like to see a sample of your material. Kind of expect that when you're graduating, but we are seeing it bubble down to some of the internship requirements. And then for the next thing we'd like you to do is, and I'll help you, you can help yourself, is to start thinking about interviews and preparing for your interview. That might mean maybe if you're interviewing for something very conservative and formal, you might need a suit. If you're interviewing for something less formal, maybe you just need a tie, maybe you need a haircut, shave. But it's very hard in Missoula to find suits and things. We ran out in Missoula of leather portfolios, if anyone knows what the leather portfolio is, you need a legal pad in it. Those are out completely in town. The business school it's on-campus recruiting season, there are none. There are also no black closed-toe, low-heeled shoes in town anymore because the girls sold them, they're gone. So we need to have those professional clothing and shoes, and then also perhaps a leather portfolio. It's extremely tacky to take a backpack into an interview. It's extremely tacky. Girls, it's really tacky to schlump your purse in there too. It's better to walk in very powerful and strong with your leather portfolio, with maybe your DVD of samples in it, your resume, whatever they've asked you to bring. Schlumping the backpack is really unattractive, and I watched that all last week.
and big old water bottles and coffee cups. Don't do that. It just sends the wrong message. And then finally, we'll get that experience. That experience is probably going to get you a mentor, and maybe you can become a mentor too of the younger students, and then step forward in the pack and be a leader. We're seeing a lot of the recruiters are asking for campus leadership experience. What have you done outside of the classroom, outside of your career? Are you doing anything else to show that you truly are a budding journalist? You truly are a leader in the industry, and you will be. So you might want to think about joining associations and things. So those are the first things I need you to do. Then I need you to start dreaming big. And when I say dream big, I mean dream big. Last year, in about January, if anyone knows Sarah Thane, she came into my office and she said, so Cheryl, I really want to apply for this internship. I'm like, okay, which one? She said, the White House. I said, like President Obama White House? And she said, yes. And I said, you know there's only 10 a year. Yeah. Okay, Sarah, this is a steep climb, but if you're willing, I'm willing. So we looked at the qualifications and she met them all. And I said, okay, let's keep going on this. It took, I think 2 weeks, 3 weeks of meeting with her just to get through all of the paperwork. One of the things was to write a policy statement. One was to analyze a policy statement. In our digging, we found out that President Obama does take his 10 interns. Of the 10 interns, he gives 2 to Michelle. And I turned to Sarah, I said, that's our ticket. Everyone's going to be writing their policy statement toward his policies. Everyone's going to be analyzing one of his policy statements, right? We're not going to. We're going to find Michelle's. And then we're going to twist your resume to all the stuff you've done with kids, families, health, and nutrition. Perfect. She got the interview, and she got the internship, and she interned. And when she came back this fall, she said to me, the weirdest thing was the first day when everyone introduced themselves. It was, Bubba Smith, Harvard, Yale, Stanford, Rutgers. And she goes, Georgetown, University of Montana. And she said it was so weird, I was kind of embarrassed at first, and then everyone's like, Montana, cool. And then the senators all wanted to talk to her because Montana was so different. So really, when I say dream big, I mean go ahead and dream big, because we've had tremendous success helping students make it come true. Here are some places where you might want to think about looking for an internship. Internships in journalism have changed dramatically since 1914 when your program started. And what you're getting now is a really flexible foundational skill set that can translate into many different avenues of journalism. Here are some ideas, and then there's a blog spot that will also have some ideas for you. We've placed students at pretty much all of those internships, and there's some fun facts for you. Matt Lauer and Katie Couric and Oprah all started their careers as journalism majors. Oprah started in production, and she wanted production, and she actually fought with her internship coordinator because she didn't want to be in front of the camera. They offered her a job, she stayed, and she still fought with him for 2 years, not going in front of the camera. One day he said, oh, yes, you are. If you've seen that tape, it's not very good, the first one, but that's how she got in front of the tape. Sometimes someone sees something in you that you don't see in yourself. Matt Lauer, he was offered a job after his internship. He had 1 class left to take, and he has never finished it. He took the job, and he still has 1 class left. Sean Avery from the New York, the National Hockey League, he interned with Vogue magazine. Matt Chatham interned with Esquire magazine. So if you're an athlete and a journalism major, yes, it is too possible. It's absolutely possible. Spike Lee graduated from Columbia and had no idea really what he wanted to do. He got an internship at Columbia in editing. Same thing with Steven Spielberg. He was at Universal in editing. That's how they got started. Nora Ephron, the movie writer, a journalism major, interned in the Kennedy White House. That's how people are getting their starts. It's who they know. Betsy Johnson was at Mademoiselle magazine. She is journalism fashion. Funny story about her. She was in the fabric library, and they closed the fabric library, and so she kind of stole the fabric and took it home, and she was cutting patterns and making clothes, and someone bought a dress from her and wore it to work at Mademoiselle magazine. And one of the fashion editors said, I love your dress, where'd you get it? Oh, Betsy made it. That's how Betsy started her fashion design career, is just being an intern, being in the right place, saying yes, jumping forward, doing the work. And then after 40 rejections from 40 different internship applications, Roger Goodell, he's the NFL commissioner, he finally got an internship with the NFL. After a year there, the Jets took him away for a year, and then he went back to the NFL for his third internship, and he's now the commissioner. So internships can very, very often move into jobs. They're the second most popular way to get a job. Number one is who you know and who knows you. So the next slide will show you where students interned last summer. If those companies are taking interns last summer, they probably are taking interns this summer. So those are some ideas for you. Notice some are out of state, some are out of country. They're in all sorts of areas, and this is just a small smattering. So if you're interested in the YMCA, that was an interesting one. There's reporters, staff writers, production assistants, radios. I thought this one was cool, Denver Broncos, and then one in Africa too. So you can even ask upperclassmen, have you interned? Where did you intern? Who are your connections? If that doesn't work for you, in our office, on our website on Internship Services, in the maroon box, we have internships posted, and they update every Friday, and it's a new list every Monday of all the internships that are opened. You can query by major, you can query by place, and you can query by due date. It's a great place to look. Now, those are internships of recruiters and companies that have come here and want us and want you. Not all companies are coming here, are they? And saying, oh, I'm going to get me a Montana kid. No. So this is another avenue to look at. Another thing you can look at is journals. If there are any journals in your field that are exceptional journals, sometimes there'll be stories in there about an intern, there'll be ideas in the back. For instance, my husband teaches pre-med here, and in Science Magazine at the back, there are tons of internship openings, tons of job postings too for assistant professors and things, but that's where you could find some. The School of Journalism website has awesome listing of potential internships, and then you can pirate from other schools. I was looking at Washington State University's site, and they have awesome internship openings all over the country. They're posting for their students. There's no reason you can't apply for them too. Newspapers, think about newspapers outside of Missoula. You can even Google the city, Google the state, and find out the name of the newspaper. So think, where can I couch surf for free? I want to work for a newspaper. Oh, that's right, Grandma's in Palm Springs. What's the name of their newspaper? Ooh, the Desert Sun. Perfect, I'll look that up. They also have a magazine, Palm Springs Life. Maybe I want to work for a magazine. Again, I can live with Grandma for free in Palm Springs. So you can always do the opposite of, I want this particular magazine. Maybe it'd be cheaper for you to live with Grandma for free, and she'll cook for you and do your laundry and go to bingo with her. And then there are blogs and Facebook pages. I've been a Facebook friend of the School of Journalism for a couple years. I love reading what your classmates say about their internships. I'm all about reading about them. So read about what your classmates have said last year, and then you could maybe think about that placement for yourself. The Wall Street Journal has a lovely blog and a Facebook page. If you want to work for the Wall Street Journal, maybe you should like them first and read what they have to say. The New York Times also has a blog and a Facebook page. I don't know about in journalism, but the accounting companies have been doing something different during their recruiting. They are dropping hints on their Facebook page just before recruiting season to see if the student is truly into them. Because if you're really into me and you really, really want to work for me, you will have liked my Facebook page, you will have been on our mission statement, and they're dropping little hints like, we're expanding in Japan in the next 5 years. And one of the questions this year of the students was, where do you hope to be in 5 years? One student said, well, I know that KPMG is expanding in Japan in 5 years. I'm hoping to use my language skills to advance the success of KPMG in Japan. Bingo bango, it's about an internship. But he wouldn't have known that had he not liked them on Facebook and had that little bit of information. Newsletters. The School of Journalism has a newsletter, and it's online, and you can look and see where alumni work. Why can't you reach out to them on LinkedIn? But you have to have a nice LinkedIn first. You could reach out to them and read their updates in their news. Also read about how they got their start. Where did they start? How did they find their way? And follow their path a little bit. There are many different kinds of associations. Sometimes those associations offer internships. Sometimes they offer lists of potential internships, and sometimes they offer scholarships. For instance, the Montana CPA Association, if you join as a student member, which is free, they actually offer scholarships to student members. I'm always telling the students, why are you not a student member? There's like 30, that's a good odds to get that scholarship. And then we can also think about internet research, which I know you're all very good at research since you're journalism majors. So start thinking, where can I look? There are internship-specific websites. For instance, IE3 Global, that's a conglomerate of international internship placement sites. We're a member of IE3. We can help you place you in any of those internship sites, but you will have to research IE3. There are a lot. Kevin Hood is in our office, and his job is to help you with your international placement. Don't come to me for international, I'm domestic. He's international. And his number is 243-2815. Now you'll want to check in with him a little early because it takes a little bit more time to do international internships than domestic.
He's our next speaker.
Is he?
On
IE3?
October 9th, yep.
It's a great program. Our university waives your tuition for the semester so you can participate. Don't let the cost, you think, oh, you know, I'm just a regular student. I can't afford to go overseas. I can't afford it. Don't think that way. It's absolutely possible, no matter what your financial situation. You can do topic-specific websites. For instance, idealist.org is a list of nonprofits, internships, organizations. Everything is out to change the world. The American Society of Newspaper Editors has a list of internships. The University of Oregon Job Internship Finder, they have one. The Washington Post. So you can continue your research on specific and aggregate websites. And then DC Internships lists all the internships located in Washington, D.C. There are tremendous opportunities in Washington, D.C. We're just now starting to work this year a little stronger with the School of Journalism, but in the past I placed Ashley Opal with the U.S. Senate Finance Committee as their press intern, and she lived in Washington, D.C. and worked for Max Baucus. And it was an awesome internship for her. There are many internships in D.C., so that's a great website. Craigslist, kind of weird, but sometimes they're posted on Craigslist. And then Monster and Dean Simply Hired, you'll find internships posted there. I just found one for a student just a minute ago as a financial analyst. Boring. Campuspoint.com. Portland and Seattle Chambers got together and they have a website for entry-level professionals and students who want internships in the Seattle or Portland area, and it's on campuspoint.com. Okay? All you have to do is join campuspoint.com, it's free, and then you can look at all the internships in those two cities. And coolworks.com just lists all the coolest internships across the nation in the last year. It's kind of fun because you wouldn't even think those internships even exist. Another idea is to think about an RSS feed. So if you jump on, for instance, the Wall Street Journal, you might get an RSS feed that feeds right into your email list. So you want to get on their careers page, their jobs page, and sign up for the RSS feed. It'll just feed right into your email box, and sometimes it will give you some really good information that you wouldn't know otherwise. Same thing with newsletters. If there is a company or an organization, association you want to intern with and they do have a newsletter, get online and read their newsletter. And I'll tell you why. I had an accounting student probably 4 years ago, and her resume was pretty much filled with, I run on the track team. Everything was about running, pretty much everything. And I said to her, wow, you're a senior graduate in accounting. They want an accounting major. We should probably minimize the running, because you're not running too much in accounting unless you're running from the IRS, I don't know. Probably beef up what you've done in classes and that you volunteered for the Volunteer Income Tax Association. We should probably beef up what they want to know, minimize what they could care less about. So we were busy doing that. I said, oh look, they have a newsletter, let's read their newsletter. because they're usually casual, more casual. So we're reading it, and there's this picture of all these people running, and underneath the pictures, the caption is the name of the company, our marathon team practicing for the blank blank marathon. I looked at her and said, oh, put all that running stuff back on. Because now they're gonna be, look at her resume, oh, she's a runner on our team. So sometimes those newsletters give you a little bit of information about the recruiter, about the organization that you might not know otherwise, so you can market yourself more strongly to them. And then of course there's always Facebook, Montana J School Internships. Facebook, whatever company you're interested in, they almost all have Facebook pages and get a little information there. Twitter, we're not very big into Twitter here in Montana, but the East Coast kids that are here are huge into Twitter. So you can tweet your availability, you can tweet, some companies are tweeting things. And then LinkedIn, you can always link to a company. Some companies are posting their internships and jobs on LinkedIn right now, but you need to have a profile, and it needs to be good and strong and professional. Don't just open one to open one. It needs to be very strong, a very nice headshot. So I would hold back from opening one until you're ready to open it fully. Those are some ideas, and then we also have the J School Communique. That was great reading. There's some awesome ideas in there for internships. The alumni news website, the faculty and staff page, your academic advisor, all those things within your department, all those people, those areas, they can help you. And then furthermore, Internship Services, go to career fairs, ask an alum. We've got student jobs, ask your friends, your peers. The Kaiman is an awesome place to get a little experience. The Montanan, just grab that experience. If you can get something with experience in it that supports your career goal and supports your curriculum, often we can twist it into an internship. Just ask your faculty advisor, look, I was offered this part-time job. Would it work? Like I had a criminology student today, and he's like, here's a part-time job as a probation officer, which is what I want to do for a living. Do you think this would count? I'm like, well, let's see, you're psych criminology and sociology, okay, and you want to be a probation officer. There's a job for a probation officer half-time. Yeah, I bet your faculty member would say, yeah, we'll twist that into an internship for you. And then also, we always have Google. So I Googled Seattle journalism internship on Sunday. Produced 500,000 almost hits. So I wanted to limit it. I did a radio internship, I didn't limit it. It was huger. So then I thought, I'm gonna limit it by money. Nope, I'm almost back to Seattle journalism. But look at the ones I found. I found a paid internship at the Seattle Times. I found a paid Seattle Met Magazine, Dow Jones Funds, and so many more. So Google can be your friend too. And then finally, read about your professors' careers. Get on their website and read about your professors' careers, how they started, where they've been. It might give you an idea like, oh, I never thought about that place. That would be cool. Cold call. Cold call means, you know what that means, you just pick up the phone or you email someone. Hey, have any internships? I'd love to work with you. Informational interview. This seems to work quite well with the business students, is they'll set up an informational interview with someone. They'll say something like, I've got a career development assignment. I need to interview someone at in an HR office who's doing work that I might like to do, in a field I might like to be in. So you interview them, you talk to them about their career path, what they're doing, and then you just slip it in. Yeah, I'm kind of looking for an internship. This sounds great. And see where it goes. And then again, pirating from other universities. And then the last one would be create your own. Maybe there's something you want to do, something new that hasn't been done before, a company no one's approached, a thought. Talk to your faculty advisor and say, I have this crazy idea, but do you think maybe it would work? My daughter was pre-med and dance, and she wanted to audition and intern at Disney in entertainment. And I kept thinking to myself, no. Pre-med, no. At the hospital, maybe. No Disney. And she talked me into it, and this is how she did. Disney has the different parks. It has one more theme park that you don't know about. It's called Give the Kids World Park. Give the kids the world park. So when a child who's not doing well, probably not going to make it, you know when they say, all I want to do is go to Disney World? Okay. They do go, but they go to give kids the world park. And there is a Swiss chalet, gorgeous, that's the hospital, the nurses and the doctors dress in character like Swiss chalet people. There's little chalets all around the castle, which are actually hospital rooms where the parents and the siblings can stay. And so what she did when she was at Disney in entertainment, on her times off, she would go over to give the kids the world theme park and volunteer with these children and take them in hospital beds through the park, in wheelchairs with all the medical things through the park and onto the different rides. And what you don't know is you call ahead and the rides will bring up a boat or a car that's handicapped accessible for that particular bed, wheelchair child, and it just flows right through. So you've never even noticed at Disney World things are flowing for those children. So it made sense. But had she not told me that, I would have said no. Her father was saying absolutely not, because he's the pre-med advisor. And now, once you've got the internship, you know what you want to do, here we go. You have to get approval from your faculty advisor. You can't just walk out and say, this is what I'm going to do. You do have to get approval, and then you'll have to submit a learning agreement online. The learning agreement is on Grizzy Recruiting. In order to get to the learning agreement, you have to have a Grizzy Recruiting account. Emily's going to teach you how to do that in a second. So you're going to get on Grizzy Recruiting, and you're going to hit Report My Hire. And then your internship learning agreement comes up. Okay, so you'll complete that, hit submit. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to register on Cyberberg for Journalism 498 for your credit. And you'll need to put in about 240 hours for the summer. It's all up there, what you need. But you do need your instructor's consent to register. And then join the Facebook page for the J School so that you can report what you're doing and let everyone read about all the cool stuff. A midterm evaluation will come out to you. It's automatic through Grizzy Recruiting. So again, you have to be on that. And then at the very end, toward the end, again, Grizzy Recruiting, it's automated. We'll send your supervisor an evaluation. Hopefully they have an email account. It goes there. If not, we'll take care of a hard copy. And then you need to submit 3 work samples, and then you'll get credit, no credit for it. Internships can make you some money. That's how much money the last 5 years the University of Montana students made through their internships. I'm just saying, it's a lot of money to make for students. But the second way to get a job is through an internship. The first way is through networking. Grizzy Recruiting has opportunities for you to network. Grizzy Recruiting has opportunities for you to seek internships. So I'm going to turn it over to Emily to talk about Grizzy Recruiting. Here's some other ideas. The Big Sky Employment Fair, Missoula's biggest job fair. Grizzy Recruiting, get on your account, start looking and seeing what's out there. And Em's going to tell me how you get a Grizzy Recruiting account.
Do any of you have a Grizzy Recruiting account already? Right. Good for you. Okay. And how many of you, this is not your first semester? Are you all at least one semester in? Yes? Okay. That's a little bit of a difference. Okay. So you access our Grizzy Recruiting through our website, which is www.umt.edu/internships. I've put a worksheet up at the front there that's all about the learning agreement, and there's instructions at the bottom on how to get there, how to log in, so you can take that with you. Our business card is also there, so you have some contact information. One of my primary jobs is just helping with troubleshooting with Grizzy Recruiting, so if you ever run into any problems at all, stop by the office or give me a call and I'll sit down with you and walk you through it. Sometimes it's not the easiest and the most intuitive database there is.
See, it's thinking about it.
Oh, there it was. Okay. So this is what our website looks like. It is changing. We are jumping on the rebranding bandwagon, and we are updating our website, making it less wordy, more friendly, and just looking a lot lot nicer. But there is a lot of great information that's on the website. You can look at other success stories from other students in the past, both international and local and nationwide. There's a student information area here that's going to explain a lot. Your internship requirements, especially with the credit, are a little different than some of the other departments on campus, so you definitely want to make sure that you're checking in with your faculty advisors about what's required for you guys. But it's also available through those slides that Cheryl showed. So first things first, though, you're going to need to get a Grizzy recruiting account. And to do that, you'll come to the gray box off to the left-hand side here and hit the sign up button. And then sign up right here in the middle. There is a short video tutorial here if you need it, but basically you're just filling in these fields when they show up. And it's asking you basic information that you should have a 90 number, your name, your major is important for us to kind of gauge for reporting purposes. And also if you wanted to make your profile live, like on monsters.com, you can, and employers can search for you also if that is an option. So you'll fill out this form, just the things with the asterisks, you'll hit register. A few more fields will pop up that you need to fill out, especially your graduation date. Your profile is good up to 6 months after you graduate, so you can use it as an alum. At that point, you can, with your alum dues, if you become part of the Alumni Association, continue using those sites at that time. We share this with Career Services, so they post their jobs there. Same situation, employers are coming from the community and nationwide in some cases to seek out people to get jobs, and you can use it for that as well. Okay, once you have an account, your username will be your 790 number, and then whatever password you choose. And you'll have a very basic profile here. You can change your information using the My Profile, My Account. You want to keep this updated. Sometimes we have recruiters coming on campus and they will pre-select interviewees, meaning they're going to screen your profile for your GPA, your year in school, those types of things. And if they're outdated, then you might be kicked out of a selection pool when you were actually eligible. So you want to make sure you keep all of that updated. And again, with your graduation date, so you don't get your profile cut off too soon. There are many other things you can do with this site. Like I said, you can launch it live so employers can look at you and search for you individually. Most people, however, use this to search for jobs and internships. So you click on this page here, and jobs can be internships too with your faculty approval, so you don't want to limit yourself necessarily just to one. It's best to cast a wide net with this database system. It doesn't know what you're looking for as well as Google does sometimes. So for instance, the Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation will actually advertise for journalism interns through us. And instead of typing in Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation, it's best to just do something like elk and cast a wider net and have it come up. So there it is right there. And it's a reoccurring one if you're interested in it. It's offered every semester. If you open it up, it gives you the basic information, your job description, the qualifications, and the application instructions. Especially with internships, they're mainly looking for a resume, cover letter, possibly references in a transcript to be emailed directly to the supervisor or whoever the selecting official is. It'll tell you where it's located and some other details of what you can expect. Also the list of majors that they're looking for. When these come through, we select majors that go along with it to the best of our ability so that you can search by major also, which most people find very helpful, and I recommend it the most, is coming down here and just going for journalism. Something to keep in mind, we do not have a lot of companies coming for us to specifically look for journalism students. However, we are gaining a very good database of where people have interned in the past, and we would be more than happy to print off that list for you as well. So these are the ones that came up, however, currently being advertised through Grizzy Recruiting, which is actually quite a lot. I wasn't expecting that many before. That's great. if you are interested in one, you can go ahead and favorite it.
I have a question.
Yeah.
How does an organization submit their request or need for an internship through you guys? Or, in other words, is there any kind of screening process? Like, do you get a request from somebody and then you guys say, maybe you're not right for us?
We do have that right. A lot of times we try to get as many opportunities out there as possible and leave it up to the student and the faculty to decide if it's appropriate or not. However, we can give recommendations definitely on organizations that we've worked with in the past, or if we're unsure, we definitely disclose that or just not post it at all. But employers have profiles just like students do, and they can go in and post things at their leisure. However, we always have to review it before it goes live to be advertised. And they can also contact us directly to have us do it for them. So, does that answer your question?
I think so. The last time I looked at this, which was a while ago, but I remember looking through some of the organizations and being like, wow, that would be awesome. And then looking through some other organizations and being like, wow, this is just some person looking for help with.
Right.
Which,
yep.
I mean, that's fine. No judgment. I just,
Yeah.
I want interns.
And we get a lot of those, especially in this community with startup organizations looking for people that will either do blog work or helping them with their media or website, and they're unpaid internships, and they are not necessarily as good as some other opportunities, which is where the faculty would step in.
Yeah, and Emily, if I can
Yeah.
chime in on that, that's why we have this as consent of instructor. So you fill out your learning agreement. Usually, often, I or somebody else will have talked to you already about it.
Hopefully.
And it's not just us, this is a federal law. Department of Labor requires that an internship is not slavery. Now, and what we mean, the way we interpret it at the J School is that you should be being supervised by a professional who can help you grow in the skills you're using, not that you are arriving as the only person who knows how to do what you're doing. So we don't, and that's often, Chris, what you see is some one-man, one-woman band will need a videographer to help with whatever they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And our students are often pretty good with video. That's not an internship, that should be a job. They should pay you to do that. They're not, it's an educational experience for the interns as much as a professional work experience. And so we expect a level of professional supervision. And if we don't see that in our, in the learning agreement, I'll call a supervisor. It requires a contact and name and number, and I'll call and just say, what is your level of supervision? How does this work? I will almost always do that for an online internship. If you're doing something remote, I'll often call and say, so how can the students receive feedback from you? So we try to protect you a little bit from that. That's not to say it doesn't happen, but if it does happen that you aren't getting an internship supervising that you really want, you should kind of know what you're walking into because of some of these hoops that they have to jump through. So
Yeah.
it's a good question.
That's excellent, yeah. And we're working towards new processes too, to make these companies, when they submit these types of things to us, to be more credible and to make a stronger connection so we can really start to weed out those types of
There's been
internships.
quite a few lawsuits lately, including journalism majors and theater majors, like with Black Swan, if you've been reading up on that, on the 2 interns who weren't paid, who are getting coffee and doing random things. If you dig down deep into that law school, into the lawsuit, those 2 students were not students. They were not associated with a school in any way. They were in their 40s and 30s and knew better. So it's really not appropriate to call them interns. And there's another lawsuit right now. Condé Nast is getting sued for basically the same thing. So that's why we ask the faculty advisors to approve and sign off. And then it comes into our office, and then we sign off that the faculty are signing off and making sure that. So it's an excellent question, and we certainly don't want you to not get the training, the mentorship, or the skill set that you should and deserve to get as you're an intern.
Yeah, that's the first question we ask is, have you talked to your faculty about this? Because we won't go very far with it unless you have. So back to this. If you do like something, you can favorite it by pushing on the star here, and it'll show up under, the My Favorites area near the top. And then this Favorites area here, so you can come back to it later. However, I recommend doing two things. One of them would be a saved search. So if you know that you're always going to be just looking for journalism majors, you don't really have any restrictions on locations or anything like that, which you can definitely restrict these things down to look for just journalism in Missoula or Montana. And you can create those criteria in the search area and then save your search. And you would just title it something like Internships. And save it. And that would come up under this View Save Search area over here. And anytime you log in, you can go directly to whichever one you're interested in looking at and clicking on that, and then you can skip the criteria phase. But even niftier and easier to do would be create a job agent. And this is very similar. It'll take that criteria. However, it'll just email you the results every week. If there are new things that are posted, it's just going to email it to you directly. This does not continue to email you the listings that have already been there. It only lists new ones, so you may still want to go back in and check. But again, you would just name it something and save it. Spell that. And it'll email you based on that criteria, just directly to whatever email address that you put in Grizzy Recruiting, which of course you want to keep updated as well. You can change that at any time. You can stop those emails if you choose to, but it is really helpful, especially if you're busy. You don't really have time to keep going in and looking all the time. You just want to see what's new and what's current. It's a really great way to do it. When you do find that internship, like Cheryl mentioned, you're going to come over to this Report Your Internship Hire tab or link over here and select it. You're going to select the term for which you are taking the credits. Many journalism students in this past summer did a summer internship but chose to take the credits in the fall. Again, that's something you have to discuss with your faculty advisor. We do not make that call. You do not make that call. Your faculty advisor does.
And that's actually a pretty limited opportunity.
There you go.
I can talk to you about that, why that happens.
Right.
In fact, you don't actually want it to go that way, because you end up paying summer credits and taking your internship in the fall. You probably don't have to pay the fees because you're probably taking classes. So.
Yeah. So that's why you want to discuss that. But it can be a little tricky if you are taking your internship or doing your internship at a time when you're not taking the credit. But you would always select the term for which the credit is going to be on your transcript. So you did during the summer, but it's a fall class, you select fall. And you click on this click here button and the field starts showing up. The worksheet walks you directly through all the fields that are required. It's good to look at that worksheet and at least know the answers to the questions. You don't actually have to fill it out, but this is an automated system. It does time out, and so if you're taking too long, you could lose all the work that you've done. But if you have all the answers to these questions right in front of you, it will take you 10 minutes or so, especially because there is a job description and a learning objectives section, and you can do whatever method works best for you. You can type it directly into the boxes, you can cut and paste it from a Word document, or you can upload separate documents for that requirement. So just so long as you know that ahead of time, and like I said, that worksheet's there to help that process. What we do with these learning agreements when they come in is we review them for errors and make sure, like for our reporting purposes, that everybody has the right course information with the CRN numbers in the right place and the course information is set up correctly. And then we go ahead and we send it off to your supervisor for approval. So they look it over, make sure everything is as you guys agreed upon, and then they'll initial it. Then it gets sent off to your faculty advisor. They look it over, make sure that they know that this is happening, definitely, and make sure that the credit is correct, and then they sign off on it electronically also. And then you can view it at any time by going to your View My Activity tab here and looking at your internship records. I don't have any, but they would show up here, and you can check the status of your approvals and anything else that you might want to look at if you've forgotten a detail. If you need to change anything, once you submit it, you cannot edit it, but we would be happy to change something for you and then send it for reapproval if necessary. Do you guys have any questions about all that? It's kind of a lot of data.
And this summer was the first year we moved this online. And had a couple of rough bumps, but mostly It should reduce your search for a fax machine, which was a challenge in past years. No more searching out fax machines, no more lost faxes coming into this building. It also prompts you when your midterm eval is due, and it prompts your supervisor when the final eval is due, which hopefully reduces your work bugging your supervisor at your internship site to get that thing done. That's a part of it. Also, it keeps track, so you can go in and look at your status. Did I do my midterm internship? Did they get it? You can go look there and see if it's done. So I think that using the online system, it's taken a little bit of getting used to, but I think that it's some real improvements over the old paper and fax process.
Yeah, and it keeps these records for a very long time. So even when your account goes inactive, if in the future you're applying for something and you need some sort of proof, I don't know, you can't get a hold of your supervisor anymore from that internship, we have that record, we have those evaluations if a future employer ever asks. So we can back you up on that as sort of a secondary reference to that internship if something else happens. So yeah, do you guys have any questions?
If you were on Grizzly Recruiting and had checked open the journalism box, you would have had this internship drop into your email box. The National Journalism Center is looking for an intern this spring and this summer both. They're paying $1,000 a month in Washington, D.C. And they will match interns with print, broadcast, or online media outlets based on the student's interest and experience. The interns will spend 30 hours a week gaining practical hands-on journalism experience, including placement sites that could include the Washington Times, the Washington Examiner, CNN, Fox News Channel, and many more. Students will also attend the National Journalism Seminar 1 day a week to sharpen their writing and investigative reporting skills, gaining a better understanding of media, society, public policy, and the intersection between them and Washington, D.C. That would have dropped into your email box.
Or
But you're
email
not
box
on it, so
on-
it didn't.
Email box on there or email box?
Your own email box.
If you had set up that create job agent with the journalism major criteria.
So if you have a Grizzly Recruiting account and set up your job agent, the job agent sends you every journalism internship into your own email box. You don't even have to search if you don't want.
And this is where you would manage those, by the way, if you ever wanted to delete one or change it. Out there.
And if you're interested, I have it. If anyone wants it.
Thoughts, questions? Is that?
Yeah, that's
it.
about it.
You know, Emily and Cheryl, thanks so much for coming over here and having these guys here. Some of these things are tricks I've never heard or thought of, and they're really good bits of advice. I'm really grateful to Internship and Career Services for helping us out with this. It's what they do all the time. If you are feeling pressed on anything, cover letters, resumes, job search, if you're not finding your advisor or you don't like their advice, it's a great bunch of professionals who can back you up on reading some of this stuff. Modern resumes, I think these guys are your go-to people, will help you. They know what's actually going on in the job search world. We have this back of your handy-dandy card. A variety of people are going to come do different talks. So next month, I think it's basically one a month, is Internships Abroad. And Kevin Hood's going to come and talk. Cheryl's going to come back and talk about cover letters. I think Andrea might be doing online applications. I'm not sure who's going to do it. Are you doing that too? Which is particularly persnickety if that's the level of applications you're doing. A lot of us don't. But if you are, there's an art to it. One of the journalism school faculty will talk about building an online portfolio. Increasingly for journalists, that's the standard. You should have a website with best work on it. How to get credit for your internship. You guys just saw all of that. But for people who only come to one of these talks, that's the one they have to come to, because otherwise I have to repeat myself too often. And then in April, we have a job fair that's been really successful. Regional and state and regional publishers and editors and TV stations, radio directors are coming and hiring people. And we will put up posters for when that is, and you can sign up to talk to those people in April. That does not mean that there aren't internship deadlines right now. The best place to see the ones that we know about, and we do try to keep these pretty fluid, is through the Facebook page. That has really become the place that opportunities are showing up. I just posted the the Boston Globe's internships. They're due October 31st. The Denver Post has very early ones, as does the Oregonian and the New York Times. Now is the time that those big internships really want to hear from you. If you're dreaming big, Google their internship sites. The Economist has some wild and crazy internship opportunities. Go look them up and see what they want, what they're looking for. A lot of the Washington, D.C. stuff is early. So keep an eye on the Facebook page. Opportunities show up there for both jobs and internships, but do get out and take charge of your own job search. I'm always happy to ask questions when I'm around, which is most afternoons. And I'm just thank you all for coming. I hope that tell your friends now it is not too early to think internships if you want to be in charge of the internship you get. If you want to put it off until April or May, then you kind of have to take what's left over. And there's some good ones that people get then, but it's a little bit of a crapshoot. Somebody else might have aced you out for it already. A lot of these internships we saw here today, the Bugle, we have Trevor Reed is doing that right now. Stephanie Parker did it over the summer. Seattle Times, we have had a great run of success at the Seattle Times. Good luck at Seattle Met. Ricky Sanchez just had a great internship there, and they would be happy to hear from some University of Montana people. If you're looking for magazine experience in a metropolitan area, the places that have had good experience with University of Montana interns in the past are very likely to want to talk to them again in the future. So not only should you see who had a great internship last year, but be sure you have a good internship for those who come after you. That's all I got for you, but thank you for coming. Come to the rest of these talks. They're all going to be different and hopefully cover different things.
If anyone wants this internship, the deadline for summer is December 1st, $1,000 a month, so $3,000